just one individual person doing everything.
And the big part of raising a village is open your back door and see the problems.
That's really
If
good.
you open your back door, you will see what your village needs. Yeah.
Since starting the center, what do you think had been the greatest impact on you and the people you're serving?
I would say the fact of the resources that we provide, the fact that the security that they know they won't be homeless, they won't go without food, even to find doctors. I have a referral list of doctors I can call, and they will help me. You know, I think even for counseling, you know, group sessions, just to come in and have a place where you know you can go and they're truly going to help you. Because every resource I send them to, be it a doctor, be it a place for an imaging for a mammogram or an ultrasound, I personally go and check that out first so that they're not filling out paperwork, waiting in line, and then told, oh, no, we can't take care of you, or, oh, no, you make too much money, you don't qualify. I make sure that my families are taken care of.
Do the people that you serve who had cancer and survived cancer, do you see them coming back and volunteering their services as well? Or
Yes, usually. Yeah. Or they will call me and call another cancer family if they have the same type of cancer, just to let them know that it's okay, that they're going to go through these symptoms and it's all right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we talked a lot about you, and we talked a lot about, you know, the your team and everybody that you're that is supporting you and the community. I want to turn the focus a little bit to your family, because I know that, you know, when you're dealing with a lot of things in your own personal life, your family is also in that struggle.
Yeah.
They're also in that battle with you. How did your family, your husband, your daughter, handle what the doctor said and the care? And
well, first of all, the hardest thing of a disease is to be a caregiver. If you talk to my husband, his story is amazing as far as caregivers, because not only did he have to do everything for our family, he didn't know day to day if I would survive. So then he had all the thoughts of, how do I raise a child by myself? How do I tell a child that there's a chance your mom might not make it? So everything is put back on them. I have a wonderful husband. I have a hero beyond heroes, because not only has he gone through the disease, he is co-owner of this facility, and he does fundraising with me. He helps out here. He helps out there. So he has become very active in the center that way, too. But I'll be honest, the toughest person was my daughter. My daughter would look at me and say, why did God do this to us? We never stole nothing. We never killed no one. We go to church. And you don't have the answers for her. So, plus you're sick. Mm-hmm. So it was very difficult for my daughter to go to school and say, I can't do this today because my parents don't got money. Or, we can't go here because my mom's sick. I think it's harder on the kids than it is on anyone else.
So even in that process of them having to take care of you as well as to take care of themselves, and we know that it was definitely God that brought you through, what else did you do to help yourself as well to become healthy? Because I know with the medication and I know the surgeries has helped, and definitely the love of your family has helped. But what other things did you have to do yourself?
Okay, well, I was so sick that no doctor would take care of me here in the state of Florida. So my cancer doctor contacted Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, and I went into a clinical trial, which they accepted me, and that is probably the only thing that has saved my life. Clinical trials are very important in life if you can get into them. And you have to have a good doctor who knows which ones you can qualify or things like that. but I didn't know anything about it. And he looked it up, and he's like, "You're flying to Durham, North Carolina, and that's where you're going to live for a while." And I went through the clinical trial, and to this day, I've never had problems.
Mm.
So it's hard to say. You have to look for research. Alternative medicine, alternative diets work for some people. But my thing about that is you have to look and search for what works for you individually, because what works for your neighbor might not work for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So each body is different. Each thing takes, your body takes things differently. So if I was to tell you, oh, go do acupuncture, it worked. I was without pain, but it might make you in more pain than you could ever imagine. So that's why, I never recommend anything like that. I give you different avenues, and you need to explore it and see what you feel comfortable doing with it. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. But we're very lucky nowadays. There's a lot more resources and a lot more advancement on, like, liquid chemo. Instead of laying there 8 and 10 hours getting red chemo, now they don't cut you open, they just cut near the tumor site. So we've gotten great strides into trying to improve the quality of life of cancer patients.
Mm. What would you say to someone who come to you and say, Debbie, I can't do this anymore. I am like totally done. I'm just fed up, and that's it.
Well, the first thing would be, that's okay. That's not unusual. Because I'll be honest, I planned out suicide. I could have told you to the day and time I was going to do it. And being a Christian woman, I said to the Lord, if you don't give me an answer, I'm done. The answer from the Lord for me was 24 hours later, my daughter was pregnant with my first grandchild. So I knew I had to fight. But in some cases, there isn't that fight. So you have to find something that's important in their life, be it their children, their husband, mom or dad, be it a wedding they need to go to. And if you can convince them that they just have to live to that point, that's all we're asking right now. We're not asking them to live for 5 years or 10 years, because that's too long of a time for them to even think about. Mm-hmm. It's usually day to day. If you can get them to live a week, and they come back in the center, you're like, okay, you made it this week. So now all we have to do is one more week. And, or break down their chemo days. Most chemo's given 4 or 5 days a week. Okay, you just got to get it through the first 2. And when they get through, okay, we only got 2 more. You already did the first 2. So it's just things like that. You'll have to give them that little air of hope. Mm-hmm. Little by little, and it has to be baby steps. It can't be a huge step, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. How did you deal with the down days?
I'm very Christian. My Bible, my pleading with the Lord. I didn't go out much because I was very, very sick. I had 5 surgeries. I was disabled. I couldn't walk. I lost 65 pounds. It was just so. Sometimes just opening the curtains and sitting on the porch was wonderful to me because I was able to get up. So yeah, you just have to find a little niche. I highly believe the Lord hung onto my hand and just kept dragging me through it, and kept saying, "If you don't make it, you're going to be in trouble." I would have told you that then because
yeah, you wasn't thinking about that.
No, I would have told him I don't want to go through it no more. Take me back.
Well, he definitely he had a plan for you. We can definitely see that in the play, even right now. As we're talking and you're sharing your life story, God definitely sustained you.
Yes, He did. And it's funny because a lot of people say that, but back then I would have never told you that was the purpose or point. I would have told you, if he would have said so, no, you're crazy. Don't pick me. Don't pick me. I don't want to do this. And I can see that in a lot of my cancer patients. I didn't sign up for this. Why are you doing this? So. But I'm very blessed that he did, because I have so many stories from the center, and I'll be honest, I sent 2 children to St. Jude's a month ago, deathly ill with leukemia, and they were actually back on Monday playing in the kids' room. So they're miracles to me, you know. So through that process of getting them to St. Jude's, they were saved. But yet they're back playing in the kids' room like healthy little kids. And, yeah, I have a lot of blessings from.
When you was talking, I was just picturing people like drowning in the water, and you're throwing the life preservers.
And that's about what cancer does. It does really make you drown. I know there's a lot of other diseases out there. I've never been affected by any other disease. So it is, and it doesn't make just you drown. It sucks the family and your anyone you're related to down with you. And that's a tough situation. Yeah.
You not only deal with the cancer person, did you also minister and care for their families? Do they go through a process too, or how is that working for when the family becomes caregivers unexpectedly?
Well, we do support groups, but we care for the whole family. We take care of the children in the family. They're allowed to do their homework. We have support groups for the kids. For the caregivers, we will go grocery shopping for them so they can focus on what they're doing. We will do transportation for whoever in the family needs it to make sure that they can keep working and not worry about the financial end of it. We do a lot that way, you know, food baskets, hygiene stuff, so that disability papers, things like that, just so that it makes it easier so that they can function on an everyday thing. I have 3 kids in the high school who play football, who wouldn't play football this year because the gear cost too much to play. Before, years ago, that was all paid for. Now the families pay for that stuff. So the center paid for that so they could continue playing football and not have to be taken off the team because they can't afford it, you know. So those are the things people don't think about when this, you know, affects a family or a child comes to school and, yeah, they don't have new tennis shoes on because their mom can't afford it, you know. Sometimes it's not because the parents can't afford it, it's because of a disease.
Well, what has been the most, what has meant the most to you during this whole process?
I think growing as big as we have, we've gone in 8 years from the back of my car to now working on, within the next 2 weeks, owning a building in Apopka, serving. We started out with 4 families. We now serve 235 families per week and 95 children. I think that's the greatest gift God could ever give me because I know I'm reaching them. I know they're getting services they need, and they have a comfortable, safe haven to call or be with, and other family members that are in the same situation. So, yeah, I think that's the greatest gift because I never thought this would grow this big. And to be able to continue to provide free services. Everyone told me the first year, you're going to shut down, you're not going to be able to provide free services. I'm 8 years as a nonprofit and never have charged anyone for the services we've given.
Well, Debbie, I am so, again, overwhelmed with what God is doing in your life and how you're impacting not just every person that you come in contact with, but you're reaching out to all of the community.
Yeah.
In closing, can you please let our listeners know how to contact you?
Yes, you can call the center Monday through Friday from 10 to 4 at 407-464-0978, or go on the website at www.wecareapopka.org, or just come visit the center at 229 East 5th Street, Apopka, Florida, 32702. And once you walk in the door, I can talk about this forever, but you'll see something totally different, and the magic happens when you walk through the door.
Well, thank you very much, Debbie, for coming on and sharing your life experiences.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Live with Necee. I am your host, Opal Bailey. Have a blessed day.